Newz is asking in Instagram, did Trump decline? From what I understand, no. Um, I mean, that's certainly worthy of its own Google search. Did Trump accept the plane from Qatar? Wow. Standing by in San Antonio. New York Times says how Trump's search for a new Air Force One led to Qatar's jet. I've heard it both Qatar and Qatar. That's who we're talking about. Qatar. NPR says standing by in San Antonio. The luxury plane from Qatar, intended to replace Air Force One. That's as of yesterday. The Guardian, Trump news at a glance, says President faces intensifying criticism over Qatar plane gift, first pitch, when we were getting back to life as what we thought we knew. He was going to wear a Yankees jersey, and the jersey they gave him appeared tight because you could see the lining of the ballistic vest that was underneath it. And the staff did not like that idea. So they said, all right, well, take off the vest. And then Special Agent in Charge Carl Truscott said, oh, hell no. I don't care what you wear over top of it, but it'll be over top of the vest. And that's how George W. wore the bomber jacket that he wore to throw out the first pitch. On January 6th, Trump wanted to go to the Capitol. And according to, I forget what her name is, but the young lady that stepped up and told her story, that he reached up into the front to try to grab the steering wheel, like he's going to steer from the back seat. And the supervisor grabbed his arm and stopped him. And they tried to call bullshit. Sorry, K-Shop, but the staff tried to make her a liar. And they showed a photo of the beast, the limo, the Cadillac, and said, this is the car that we used that day. This is a photo of that day. That would have been one hell of a motorcade, considering that photo was proven to have been taken in Reno, Nevada. And the fact is, the cars used that day were what is called the Camp David package. That's where the limo for the president looks just like the follow-up. That is to say that they were both Chevy Suburbans, which has a much closer back seat to the driver's steering wheel. And the supervisor, I think it was Anthony Ornato, one of the assistant special agents in charge of the detail, or maybe he was the deputy special agent in charge, one of the two or three. He said White House. It's not actually what he said. He used the call sign, the code word. But anyway. Yeah. So I still can't find if we've actually taken possession of this $400 million airplane. Now, you're both right, because I know there's an argument that's going on to this day. Is it legal to accept a gift? For the president to do so and to keep it? The answer is no. Article 1, Section 9, Paragraph 8 says specifically that. However, it also does say that he may, or that any such entity within the government may, with the approval of Congress. Hey, Zizi. With the approval of Congress. That being said, well, let's just see what this has to say. Oh, come on, where'd it go?
Giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money.
Not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense, and you should know better.
Why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly?
You should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much.
Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture.
I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department. And I would say only a stupid person would say that.
It should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to the American people.
We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept the gift?
If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo.
So there it is, though. I mean, what's happening, Donald? What's happening? The Guardian also says Trump's acceptance of Qatar jet gift is definition of corruption, according to a senator. The Hill, Trump defends Qatar jet gift, hits Bear for pushing radical left story. That must be Brett Baer from Fox. The Independent says White House insists Trump has nothing to do with $400 million Qatar plane deal, despite him talking about it every 10 minutes. CNN says sources contradict narrative about Qatar offering plane as a gift. Well, that looks like a whole show right there. That looks like 2 hours of excitement. There you go, Caesar. So the rest of the show, if we don't spend it all talking about an airplane. Let's go to this one from the Hill. This is from the Hill. Is that a video? What is this? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Wow, those are beautiful buildings. Not going to lie. I mean, very beautiful buildings.
The government of Qatar wants to give the U.S. a 747 jumbo jet to use as Air Force One, and President Trump says it would be stupid not to accept.
I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could
This is in stereo.
a stupid person say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
The president argues the U.S. needs the gifted jet because his current Air Force One plane is outdated and taking too long to replace.
We're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. You know, we have an Air Force One that's 40 years old.
This plane would normally cost around $400 million. And the idea of the U.S. accepting such an expensive foreign gift has government ethics watchdogs concerned.
If you weren't the president of the United States, I would agree with him. If somebody offers you a plane, take the plane. But if you're the president of the United States, you're not just a person.
Peter Loge is a political ethics expert with George Washington University, and he says this gift could influence President Trump in meaningful ways.
Qatar's going to call him later and say, hey, now that you've got my plane, I'd like to talk to you about trade, foreign policy, or almost anything else. You're going to take the call.
The White House argues it's following the law on foreign gifts, but Loge says that doesn't matter.
Even if this is legal, even if this is all above board, it sends the signal that if you want something from President Trump, write a check, give him a plane. That's not a signal the president of the United States should be sending.
And he says it sets a dangerous precedent for future leaders.
It's sliding slowly down into a place where I don't think we want to be as a country.
President Trump says it's a gift to the Defense Department, not him. And after his term, he says the jet will go to his presidential library.
After I leave office, I wouldn't be using it.
In Washington, I'm Hannah Brand.
Those words are going to come back to bite him in the ass. That's the thing that I don't understand about this. Escape. There we go. That's the thing I don't understand about this is how does it go to his presidential library? If this was a gift to the Defense Department and the Air Force accepts this and they use it as Air Force One, which, by the way, is not one plane. He probably never noticed there's more than one 747, and by design, they all look alike. If this is a gift to the Defense Department, why is it going to his library when he leaves office? And why are we supposed to believe that when he leaves office, he's not going to use it? A brand new 747. Donald Trump, who has never lied before, ever, is not going to use this airplane. Oh, wow. I just think that I don't blame him. I know he's a piece of shit. I blame Congress and the less than a third of all Americans who voted for him. Up next, hits Bear. I'm presuming that's Brett Bear? Yeah. So President Trump, in an interview on Friday, again defended his decision to accept a luxury jet worth hundreds of millions of dollars from Qatari government to replace Air Force One, while also dismissing bipartisan criticism as a radical left theory. I just want to say it was a radical left story. Trump told Fox News' Brett Baer in Abu Dhabi during a stop on his diplomatic trip to the Middle East this week, where he was begging for more money. The people here, to show you how crazy it is, they would like me to pay $1 billion. I made a good deal, he added. The Boeing 747-8, previously used by the Qatari royal family and established to be worth at least $400 million, was gifted to the Pentagon to serve as a stand-in for the aging Air Force One fleet while the president is in office. It eventually will be decommissioned to Trump's future presidential library. The arrangement has raised ethical and security questions from Democratic and Republican lawmakers, and Trump accused Baer of piling on. This is what happens when you don't kowtow to this guy. Brett Baer did his job. And frankly, I've seen Brett Baer interview Donald Trump. The level of manners, politeness that he uses to talk to this asshat is beyond professional. The president countered in the interview that he's not the beneficiary of the gift. Then why are you accepting it if you're not the beneficiary? But it is a present to the federal government. Then how are you getting it to your library? This is called money laundering. That's a basic example. That's not even technical. Oh. Oh, my God. Well, the president countered in the interview that he's not the beneficiary of the gift, but that it is a present to the federal government, and the plane will be old by the time. No, it won't. You're flying in a 40-year-old plane, which, by the way, is not old. Oh. I have a handgun that is a Colt. It's actually not a Colt, but if you just Google Colt 1911, you'll see a picture of the type of gun that I have. The actual maker of the gun is a company called Union Switch and Signal. They make train stops. Ding, 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 ding. Those things at the tracks when you're driving over the tracks. During World War II, other companies besides Colt, Singer, the sewing machine company, Union Switch and Signal, and some others, were commissioned to make these handguns. 1911 is the year it was designed. You know how many major changes have been made to that gun in 114 years? 0. That's like the 747. It is one of the perfect airplanes in our aviation history. 40 years old is not old. There are things inside of it that can easily be remodeled to an upgrade, and you never know it's a 40-year-old plane. But 40 years old is not old. Now he wants to take one that, as far as our use of it, is less than 4 years old, and he says that's old? And some of you people believe this. Oh, that's it for today. I'm going to go make a cocktail and then do some editing. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching. Dunk tanks. Sauna. Everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness.
The average radio listener listens for 18 minutes. The average
Yergz
fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given, I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate
Yergz.
Good point. The average hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common answer, I want to see what he'll say next.
Hey gang, it's Yergz. One of the things we've learned is to take our 2-hour show and split it up into segments. This ends the segment on this issue. Hang tight. The rest of the show is in the next episode. Thanks for listening.